Hi, I'm Daniel Andrews, owner and creator of Andrewsfootball.com. Welcome to my video breaking down the Seattle Seahawks. If you're new to my channel, there's this button right down here. See it, see it, see it. Bam! Hit that button. Become one of the greatest people on planet Earth. My channel is scientifically proven to make all your wildest dreams come true. Now, here's where my breakdown videos go. I break down what I like. I break down what I don't like, but stick around to the end where I break down the Vegas over and under. And if you should put action down on the Seattle Seahawks, spoiler alert, you want to stick around to the end for this one, okay? All right, now let's break down what I like. First thing I like about the Seattle Seahawks is the draft. If you don't know, they started off with 4 draft picks, and they turned that into 11. Now, part of that's due to the Frank Clark trade to my Kansas City Chiefs. But one thing I really like about the Seattle Seahawks, and specifically Pete Carroll, is that rookies get a chance to play. Pete Carroll plays rookies. If you look at the history of the Seattle Seahawks, Russell Wilson was a third-round pick. He got to play as a rookie. Matter of fact, here's how it worked. They signed Matt Flynn to a big free agent contract. They brought him in to be a starter. Then they drafted Russell Wilson in the 3rd round. 99% of NFL coaches would have gone with Matt Flynn. Instead, Pete Carroll goes with Russell Wilson. They end up winning a Super Bowl. Richard Sherman was the best corner in football. He was a 5th-round pick. Chris Carson, 7th-round pick, had over 1,100 yards rushing, while 1st-round pick Rashad Penny only had 400. I got a crush on Rashad Penny. So, but bottom line, it doesn't matter where you're from, who you are. Under Pete Carroll, you get a chance to play, and he does like playing rookies. That's something that he does, not every NFL coach. I'm a Chiefs fan. Andy Reid hates playing rookies. I was trying to argue with Chiefs fans who are like, well, with this draft, me take. I'm like, why? They're not going to play this year, so I like to trade for the Chiefs. Anyway, I'm getting off subject. But it goes along with, the second thing I like goes along with the draft picks is I'm sold on the coaching staff. Not just Pete Carroll, but as a longtime Chiefs season ticket holder, Brian Schottenheimer, the offensive coordinator, it's kind of neat to see them with a Schottenheimer as offensive coordinator, because you know what they do. They play Marty ball. They run the ball. That's kind of cool. And then Ken Norton came back to be offensive coordinator. If you don't know, Ken Norton was an assistant at USC, then became assistant head coach, came to the NFL with Pete Carroll, was a linebackers coach for a long time, left for Oakland to be the defensive coordinator. Then when Gruden came, he came back to Seattle, now coaching the defense in Seattle with Pete Carroll. Now, I can't vouch for either Brian Schottenheimer or Ken Norton, but I know at USC, a lot of those assistants got to go and to take other head coaching jobs. So both of them will get the opportunity, if they desire, to be coaches in the future. But I really like the coaching staff as a whole. Even after Pete Carroll won the Super Bowl, I kept on trying to tell people that, no, he'd be better off in college. I mean, look what he did at USC. This is not an exaggeration. If he decided he wanted to go back to college, he could get $10 million a year from some university. I guarantee you that. But he's done a fantastic job in the NFL. He's done an amazing job in the NFL. So, which kind of leads on to the next thing I like is I love the way they finished the season. A lot of this had to do with coaching adjustments, but here's the thing. Not only did they win 6 out of their last 7 games, 5 out of those 7 wins, they held their opponent under 100 yards. I'm going to do some numbers here, so stay tuned here. This may be a little confusing. Of those 7 games, they gave up 744 yards rushing. That's 106.2857 yards a game. Now, the Carolina Panthers, in a loss, ended up rushing for 220. Let's say you take that game out. All right, the 6 other games, they gave up 524, which is 87.3333. All right, that's important because in those 7 wins, they had 1,190 yards, which is 170 a game. So if you look at 170 versus that 87.333, that's double. But let's say you go to 7 both now. Bottom line, you get, hold on here, I got to snooze this. All right, so bottom line, you're over 63 yards a game better than your opponent, number 1 rushing offense as far as yards are concerned. So this is a big deal. The Seattle Seahawks run the ball. Like I said, Schottenheimer's head coach. I'm sorry, offensive coordinator. So I really get a kick out of that. Fourth thing is that I mentioned that he likes playing rookies. Well, rookie was your punter last year, and he was first-team All-Pro. That's really cool, having a rookie punter be the best punter in the National Football League. Fifth thing I like is the 12th man. Now, CenturyLink Field or whatever it's called, it's not as loud as Arrowhead, but it's very intimidating. It's a very difficult environment to win in. Matter of fact, I looked at the schedule. I think all 8 of their home games the Seattle Seahawks are going to be favored in. This is a very, very difficult environment to win in. It's loud. It's tough to play in. It's really, really hard to win there. So give the 12th man a lot of credit. It's a tough environment, a very tough place to win. Last thing I like about the Seattle Seahawks here is I really like their schedule, okay? They kick off the schedule at home against Cincinnati, a team with a first-time rookie head coach. I would be shocked if the Bengals win that game. As a matter of fact, even if you're a diehard Bengals fan, you got to be looking at week 1 and going, man, I just hope we keep it close. You're not expecting to win that game. Let's be clear. The Seahawks are going to win that game. The last 2 games on the schedule are also at home against the Cardinals and the 49ers. So they should start off 1-0, and they should win these last 2 games, all right? They really should. I think the schedule is very favorable for Seattle because you start off the season with a win, and then the last 2 games you really realistically are trying for a playoff spot, maybe even trying for home field advantage, and you get both those games at home against opponents that you really should beat. So I really like the schedule and how it works out for the Seattle Seahawks. So kind of to recap, all the things I like here is I love the job with the draft, turning 4 draft picks into 11 draft picks, especially for a coach who will play rookies, and he will play rookies that are drafted late. He'll give you an opportunity. Not all NFL teams will. I'm also sold on Pete Carroll. It took me a lot longer than a lot of other people because I kept on saying for the longest time, go back to college, do something there. But he belongs in the NFL. He's one of the better head coaches in football. I love how they finished last year, winning 6 out of their last 7 games. Very impressive. You have a rookie all-pro punter, and then the CenturyLink Field, the 12th man, very intimidating and extremely, extremely difficult place to win. And I like the schedule. I think the schedule works out good for you. You should almost... You're almost guaranteed to win that first game. Come on, the Bengals aren't going to beat you there. All right, now, I've seen weird things happen week 1, but I think it would be very difficult for the Bengals to win that game. And you also get the last 2 games at home, a place where you've had a lot of success. So what I don't like about the Seattle Seahawks, I don't like how you lost Earl Thomas and Frank Clark, respectfully. Now, keep in mind, Earl Thomas got injured, and there was all sorts of trade talk. There was talk about him actually going to my Chiefs, but bottom line, this guy was a member of the Legion of Boom. This guy was the best safety in football for a long time. This guy's going into Canton someday, and I think that even with all the trade talk and with the injury, I think having him in the locker room, I think is kind of a big deal. I think having a guy that's going to enter the Pro Football Hall of Fame on your roster, whether he's active or not, I think means something. And the guy, by the way, I don't know Earl Thomas personally, but from everything I've heard, he's a good locker room guy. He's a good presence to be in the locker. Not all players are, but I've not. And keep in mind, he might be a jerk. He might be one of those guys like everybody's, oh, thank God we got rid of Earl Thomas. I've never heard that once. He could be, but I think having a guy who's going to enter Canton in your locker room is always a positive. And with Frank Clark, I understand the trade. You got good compensation for him. You couldn't afford to pay him. I understand all that. But bottom line, you're getting rid of your best defensive lineman. This is a guy who's strong against the run and gave you 13.5 sacks. Yes, you got Ziggy Ansah. Yes, you chose, what was his name again? LJ Collier out of TCU, a player I like. But bottom line, you're not going to be able just to replace Frank Clark, all right? I mean, you got to have some things kind of work your way. Ziggy Ansah's got to have a big year. LJ Collier's got to really step up as a rookie. But I really sincerely doubt you're going to be able to get a solid run supporter and 13.5 sack production out of those guys. And as much as I like LJ Collier, he wasn't the prospect Frank Clark was coming out of Michigan. He had some off-field issues. I'm kind of going off in a tangent somewhere else. But bottom line, it's really hard to replace a future Hall of Famer and your best defensive lineman. Second thing I don't like, and I didn't realize this as the number was so high, but Russell Wilson was sacked 51 times. That's a big number. I knew he was sacked quite a bit. I didn't realize it was 51. All right, that's over 3 a game. That's way too much. You got to shape that up a little bit. And part of that's on Russell Wilson holding the ball too long. Part of it is the offensive scheme. I understand he also played against some tough teams. I get that. You can't be sacked 51 times, especially with that contract, which is the third thing and final thing I really don't like. Okay. I know that Seattle fans are really, really, really high on Russell Wilson. I get that. But a 4-year, $140 million contract, which is $65 million signing bonus, $107 million total guarantees, and an average annual salary of $35 million. All right. I know that if it was me, I would do the same thing. But I would like to see him take less money. And another thing is that, and a lot of Seahawks fans are really going to hate me, I'm not even sure he's a top 10 quarterback. All right? Bear with me here. In no particular order, in the NFC, these are the quarterbacks I think that are better than Russell Wilson. Give me Aaron Rodgers. Give me Drew Brees. Give me Matt Ryan. And I'm going to tell you something. I know there's some people are going to argue Russell Wilson's better than Matt Ryan. I understand that. Big bottom line, there's a comment section below. Comment. Who do you think's better? Am I wrong here? Tell me I'm wrong. You know what? I love it when people disagree with me. I want to hear your opinion. I'm giving you mine. I made a video. Let's hear it. Put it in the comment section. What do you think? All right? But those 3 quarterbacks in the NFC, give me those 3 any day of the week. In the AFC, Patrick Mahomes, Tom Brady, Andrew Luck, Phillip Rivers, Ben Roethlisberger. Now, Phillip Rivers and Ben Roethlisberger, I can understand there's some people that want to argue that. I've seen Phillip Rivers come to Arrowhead many, many times. That guy scares the you-know-what out of me. All right, Ben Roethlisberger, this guy's going into Canton. Look, I know that the 35 touchdowns, 7 interceptions is really impressive. I know the athletic ability is really impressive, but in the AFC, give me those 5. So just to recap, I would take these 8 quarterbacks over Russell Wilson. Aaron Rodgers, Drew Brees, Matt Ryan, Patrick Mahomes, Tom Brady, Andrew Luck, Phillip Rivers, Ben Roethlisberger. Now, let me give you some names here. Jared Goff, Carson Wentz, Deshaun Watson. I don't know if these 3 guys are better than Russell Wilson or not. I mean, but bottom line, out of Goff, Wentz, Watson, and Wilson, the best passer out of them, I think, would be Jared Goff. The best athlete, I'm not really sure. Is it Wentz? Wentz has got the most upside. All right. Athleticism, I could argue Wilson. Who's got the strongest arm? Probably Wentz. Now, keep in mind, I know Russell Wilson has that it factor, but I think Deshaun Watson has that. So I'm giving you 8 quarterbacks that I would take over Russell Wilson, and then I'm giving you 3 that I actually don't know if I would take them over Russell Wilson or not. But bottom line, I'd say Russell Wilson's the 12th best starting quarterback in the NFL. I can make that case. I really can. I can tell you at best he's 9. Because I'd take those other 8 over Russell Wilson, but the Seattle Seahawks gave him this much money. It would have been nice to see him take a team-friendly contract because salary cap 101, you give Russell Wilson all this money, you can't give other money to Earl Thomas. You can't give that money to Frank Clark. But what you're doing instead is you're turning 4 draft picks into 11 and saying, hey, we're going to give Russell Wilson all this money, then we're going to give you a bunch of rookies. It's actually not a bad idea, but... bottom line, salary cap 101. So to kind of recap what I don't like about Seattle Seahawks, I don't like the loss of 2 big-name defensive players, one who's going into Canton and the other one who's your best defensive lineman. I don't like that Russell Wilson was sacked 51 times last year. And the big-time, big-money contract that you gave Russell Wilson, I would have liked the smaller, more team-friendly contract, but... I don't blame Russell Wilson. And what the Seahawks are doing instead is that they're compensating that by littering a roster of a bunch of rookies, which the Seahawks have had success doing. So that's kind of my recap. But what did I say? I said stick around to the end, especially this one, because this is some good content here. Over-under on the Seattle Seahawks is 8.5. Currently, the over is -140, which is a very high number, which means that you have to wager $140 to win 100. Now, the under is +120, so if you wager 100, you win 120. Because of the differential between these two, I wouldn't be surprised if it jumps up to 9. But you know what? Even if it jumps up to 9, take the over. All right? I think really, really strongly about the Seattle Seahawks. I feel very good about the Seattle Seahawks. So I do think that even if it jumps up to 9, go ahead and take the over. But what did I tell you? Stick around to the end where I'm going to talk about bonus coverage. I got bonus coverage for you. To make the playoffs, if you bet on the Seattle Seahawks to make the playoffs, it's +150 for yes, -180 for no. So if you make a $100 wager on the Seattle Seahawks to make the playoffs, you win 150. Take that bet because they're going to the playoffs. But wait, there's more. To win the division currently, Westgate has the Rams at -175. So if you want to wager the Rams winning the division, you have to wager $175 to win 100. The Seahawks are at +300. So you make a $100 wager for the Seahawks to win the division, you win $300. Take that bet. The Seattle Seahawks are going to win the NFC West. Go ahead and take the trifecta. Take the over. Take them making the playoffs. And take the Seahawks to win the NFC West. Big time bold prediction. So listen, if you're a subscriber to Andrews Football, you already know you're one of the greatest people on planet Earth. All your wildest dreams are going to come true. But hey, listen, if you're new to my channel, see this button right now? See it, see it, see it. Bam! Hit that button. Become one of the greatest people on planet Earth. Check out some of the content over here. I got some really great playlists. I hope you have a fantastic weekend. I can't wait because you know what? Monday, I'm breaking down the Baltimore Ravens, so I'll see you Monday.